listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
Can you feel the power? Can you feel the power? Feel the power of Double XI.
Positive Power 21.org Internet Radio.
You are listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
Hey, my name is Davis and I'm from Haiti, but I live in Dominican Republic. I'm here, Positive Power 21, Jerry Royce Live Worldwide.
That's right, you tell him, little buddy. Welcome, everybody. You're listening to Late Night Radio right here on Positive Power Double XI, and this is the live jazz experience. That's right, with Lady Praise, Jazzman, and the Batman. Tonight, our special guest is Nikki Lerner. That's right, she's a jazz vocalist out of the Maryland area, and she's here to tell us all about her journey. That's right, probably a beautiful journey. Batman actually had the opportunity to hear her perform live right here in the beautiful Owings Mills, Maryland. And we had a great time, me and the wife had a great time. All right, everybody, so we got our crew, WKHS. That's right, out of Chestertown, Maryland. That's right, Lady Praise and Jazzman is going to be joining us in a second. Just want to give you guys some updates real quick. I know everybody is staying safe and going by all federal and state laws. That's right. You got to be covered up. Cover up. You remember that old saying, cover up. Well, this time you really got to cover up. This thing right here not playing. It takes no prisoners. No prisoners. But there have been some good news out there. I heard on the news one day that over 2,000 people was cured by a drug that they said that was supposed to be used for the Ebola, but they found out it was able to help some people walk out of the hospital. So that is some great news. So we got to keep our prayers up, y'all. We got to keep giving God praise for that victory, because there's some victory out there, y'all. Sometimes you got to be careful where you tuning in at. But there's some great things happening out there. So we got to give God all the praise. Sometimes they find ways not to give you the information that you need, but it will come your way. Believe me, y'all. Some great news. I know social media can get a little carried away with conspiracy theories and all. Only thing I can say is make sure, you got the things you need to survive. Don't go out if you don't have to. If you do, cover up the hands, cover up your mouth. Don't touch your face. Don't rub your eyes until you wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. Some good soap. All right. And I think it's a couple organizations out there that actually started some new businesses where they actually producing sanitizing lotions and those kind of things. So, I know some businesses are probably falling. It's probably due to the time. Sometime when you have recessions and stuff like this, things happen. It's a turnover. So we're looking at a lot of businesses being discovered right now. You got a lot of home workers making masks. You got companies building respirators. You got, of course, hospitals probably going to get all the federal money now, because you never know if this thing come back again. Plus, not just this, but we've been having some issues with flu, period, in the last couple of years. But we lost a lot of loved ones. I know my family, in-laws had a relative that was really sick with pneumonia. I lost my aunt about 2 years ago to double pneumonia, and it adds up. So and we almost lost the dear podcaster. That's right, our good friend Stephen Turner. He had double pneumonia and a whole bunch of stuff was going on. I think he actually got affected with COVID-19, according to what he had said on his broadcast. But he was able to pull through. He's also diabetic, type 2, vision issues and everything. So, sometimes, we got to alkaline our body, y'all. We got to really watch what we put in our bodies, fried foods and alcohol and all that stuff. This is the time when you want to pump your body up. You want to make it powerful. You can get your best proteins from vegetables. That's right. A lot of people don't know, but meat is actually the middleman of protein. That's right. A lot of people didn't know that. That's why I said, if they would have taught me this stuff in school back in the day, I would have been a scientist, because it's so interesting. I go out to YouTube and these are people that, got PhDs and doctors and stuff in this stuff. And they said that the cows and pigs are actually the middleman to protein. You get your real primary protein from plants, plant-based protein. So Batman actually only do seafood right now. I don't even fool around with beef and chicken no more. Yeah, I'm just in the Merlin crabs. So what's going on? What's going on? What's up, Lady Praise, Jazz Man?
What's up, Batman?
What's
I've been
up?
listening to
How you all doing?
Okay.
How you doing? How you doing, Batman, Lady Praise?
Jasmine
What's up?
Jasmine just
What's
jump
going
on in
on,
there, don't he? He just jumped in there. We good, man. We are good. So what you?
I jump in here. I'm like, wait a minute.
So, Lady Praise, what you were saying? What you were saying on an intro? 'Cause I couldn't hear you because Jazz Man jumped in there. So what did you say?
No, I was just saying when you said all of that, I mean, I grew up on the Eastern Shore, so we're all over here. I mean, my grandfather was, he raised hogs and chickens and whatever. So
Yeah.
That was how we grew up, and that's how he he had a 7-acre farm, one of the only small number of black farmers on the Eastern Shore. So, that was
Yeah, we got this.
No pork, no meat. I'm like,
No. Yeah, we got the same. Yeah, we got the same kind of history in our family. I think Jasmine and Tay, I think our grandfather had like 500 acres, and he divvied it out to family members and stuff. And my grandfather actually had a farm with chicken and hogs and cows and stuff. Yep. It was 90 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, granddad's.
I'm talking about great granddad. I think Pop said he had a whole lot of land.
Oh, Granddad Samson.
Yeah, I know, but one after that, before that one. Well, anyway.
Oh yeah.
But, I
think it's 300.
Yeah, 300. So anyway, Lady Praise, you right. I mean, we enjoyed our share, but as you get older, your body can't really handle that kind of abuse.
Change.
Yeah, you got to change.
That's true.
Oh, I got to turn my
Yeah,
settings.
and
on.
I've actually noticed that I have, because I'm been a diabetic for so long. I've actually noticed that I'm trying to make sure that I'm, with all the stuff that's going on, I've got to, as I get older, I've got to change my eating habits. I don't eat as much for breakfast. I don't eat as much for lunch. I really don't necessarily eat a lot for dinner, and I just find myself feeling better and feeling lighter. And just trying to get lose the weight so that there's no, extra any complications or anything. God forbid if I do get sick or whatever. I know I've got my A1Cs under control, and I don't necessarily really drink or smoke or anything like that. So it's just a matter of
That's right.
making sure that you're right, eating right. Yeah. So,
I actually have a documentary that's gonna be released really soon. It's just a matter of me just getting in studio and doing my part. I got everything, all the pieces to it. But I found out through my research, and this was some updated stuff from my nurse practitioner. She's Jamaican, and she really follows what's going on in the research world very closely, because Patient First, they deal with a lot of diabetics, because they be having issues. And sometimes they know going to emergency room is not a good thing sometimes. So they go to, some of these urgent care facilities. And she was telling me, she said, you should be the poster child, because she said she have never met anybody that ever reversed diabetes. Not one time, but I did it twice. And they, she said, she said, how you did? I said, the first time I thought it was a fluke because I caught it really early. Like it was like 4 or 5 months. It was gone. But then, and because my son was running, we was competing, doing short marathons and stuff. But the second time, I just, my daughter, she likes going to the gym. My son was getting ready for track. So we just was in there, I said, I'm going to try doing weights now. Never really got into weights since we was 12, 14, 15. Really was hitting the weights hard. Next thing I know, I was starting to feel stronger, feel better, handling, especially on the film shoots. Man, went in there, got tested. They called me clapping like it was a party online. Told me, he said, how did you do it? They don't know nobody that have done it. They know it was possible. So anyway, Batman's going to release a film about it. So y'all hear all about it, how it was done. Because it's not just about the weight training, but it's a whole lot of other stuff to go into. It's like your mindset, your eating habits, your sleeping, everything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, it's almost time to bring our guests on. We got Nikki Lerner in the house. Nikki, I don't know exactly where she's from. I know we met her the night she performed for our Bridgeway Community Church. My wife and I, we actually attend that. I think we're members now. I know we went to some classes. Haven't gotten a certificate or anything yet. But anyway, they have a phenomenal performance arts, I say center, but they have like a black box theater here in Owens Mills, and then out in Columbia, they have a huge auditorium that is phenomenal with the lighting, the sound effects, everything. And I think somebody told me, a little birdie told me that she was actually the worship leader out in the Columbia building. So we'll find all that out when you guys interview her. But I just want to say hello to her, and then you guys can get started with the interview. So Nikki Lerner, welcome to Positive Power XXI. How you doing tonight?
Hey, friends. How you doing? I'm fantastic.
Awesome.
Hey.
Awesome. Good to hear you.
Hey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I
Yes, thank
appreciate
you.
the invite.
That's right. And I was so excited.
Cool.
When I go out, my wife always says he's all business all the time. Sometimes, that's how God puts you in places you never know who you're going to meet. Because I love the network. And, of course, being in the music business, being in radio and film and TV, have to meet people, So I was blown away by her performance. Nikki, you are excellent performer, and I can't wait to hear the answers to Lady Praise and Jazz Man's questions. So I'm just going to be quiet, and Lady Praise is going to take over. Amen.
Amen. Well, Miss Nikki Lerner, thank you for coming on the Live Jazz Experience podcast this evening.
Oh, it is such a delight for me to be here. I appreciate the invite and to be hanging out with all of your awesome listeners.
Oh, well, let me get started, because I just listened to Let Me Say Goodbye. And let me just say, I am like blown away. You remind me of like a Liz Wright or a Candace Springs girl.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, thank you.
Your voice
Thanks
is
for listening.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes. So tell us about the creative process behind Let Me Say Goodbye.
Oh, sure. So I'll start here. So yes. So a good bit of my life, I have been I've sort of been a performer and been in music my entire life. Yeah. And I started walking with the Lord when I was 13. And I was the first Christian in my home. And so it was the first time that I had ever even saw like Christian music or, anything like that. And so that's how I ended up in kind of church world and end up leading worship ministry at Bridgeway for about 17 years, just been out of that for about a year and a half. But there's this thing that happens, I think, when you're a person of faith and you're in a Christian community where people start to tell you that the only kind of music that you can make is music that is for the saints to sing in the sanctuary during corporate worship time, right? And so I actually stopped or didn't let myself write music about love and compassion and forgiveness and friendship, because I was scared to death for years that if I didn't say the name Jesus in my song, somebody would think I was a secular person. And I think a lot of people struggle with this as a creative. So when I started writing these songs for these records, I said, I love me some Beyonce, but I don't want her to give me all of my love songs. Like, I want to hear love songs by people who know Jesus. I want to hear about love in the filter that is of the Word of God. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to start writing some love songs. I'm going to start, I call it songs about life through my Jesus filter. Okay. And that song in particular, Let Me Say Goodbye, I wrote it after talking to a friend who was a Christian friend of mine who was in this relationship with a person that he just did not love her. And I said, sometimes, you just have to say goodbye. You need to break up with this relationship that's not good for you and break up with this old version of who you are as a person. And so really the creative process for me has been about, can I capture a moment in time in our lives where we can connect as human beings and sing about love, forgiveness, compassion? That's ultimately all the characteristics of who God is.
Wow. So listening to Let Me Say Goodbye, to me, at first, when I first listened to it, I thought, oh my gosh, this song is awesome. And it sounds like, so it's really on the bent of like a Christian jazz artist, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that particular recording is fun. I got one of my friends is in this Grammy-nominated band, and I called him up and I said, hey, can you play guitar on this song for me? Kind of a stab in the dark. And he's like, oh, absolutely. And so I feel very lucky to have had this person on this record.
Wow. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So I understand you're coming out with a new, so this is going to be your fourth release is going to be coming out in June 2020.
Yes, I'm very excited about it.
Very excited, yeah.
The title of that CD is going to be called Human 2, and that's T-O-O. I was talking to somebody today, and they were like, so was there a human 1? And I was like, or you mean like human also? So this record will be called Human 2. And really the songs are about, again, just trying to connect to the things that are just innately human in all of us. We kind of live in a time where it's easy to dehumanize one another based on some of the surface level things that we see on social media, or, if somebody makes a mistake or something like that. But to really try to pause and say, what are the elements that just make us innately human?
Wow. Deep. Incredible. So as a artist, Christian, I'm going to call you Christian jazz artist, has it been easier or difficult as far as with social media to get your music out? It's certainly more difficult because the Christian market in itself is relatively small, comparatively speaking, right? So So within that small market, it is also an even smaller lane for anything that is not considered corporate worship music, which is sort of like your Donnie McClurkin, your Hillsong, your that kind of thing where people can sing along, because that's what people are purchasing in churches. And so that business side of it, the lane is super small, but I had to make a decision that I needed to be authentic and true to who I was as an artist, and I knew that I would find my audience. Wow. Incredible. Like I said, I can't wait for this to come out because I'm going to buy it. Well, thank you. Tight. So. This is going to be great. So let's take a pivot because I want to definitely talk about. So I understand you have a podcast that's called Cultural Coach Podcast. Tell us, what is a cultural coach? Culture coach. So the other part of what I do is I help individuals and organizations move from monocultural to multicultural in their work and life. And I started this Culture Coach podcast because I was trying to create a space where people could explore different aspects of culture and learn and poke without the fear of judgment or, asking the wrong question or that kind of thing. And so that's why I created Culture Coach, is because I feel like everybody needs a safe person in their life that is a different ethnicity or just cultural come from than they are, that they can ask questions and learn in safe environment. I need somebody in my world that is not
African American, so I can learn. I'm grateful for my non-African American friends that when there's something happening where I'm like, I don't understand it, or can you teach me this? I got friends I can call and say, will you coach me through this, or what do I need to be aware of? So that's really the goal of Culture Coach.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
Yeah, I love the work that I get to do.
So what was the premise? So you just said, okay, I'm just going to do this, and again, so is this your main focus, your main job, what you do?
Yes. So
you do training as well? You train others as well?
Yep. Most of what I do is I do a lot of public speaking, speak at a lot of conferences, run my own workshops, trying to help people move from, a life and even their work or their church or their work environment that has been historically monocultural. So, whether that be an organization that's been all white American or all African American or all Korean American, whatever the culture is, to say, what steps do we need to take in order to have our organization or our gathering or our lives to be more multicultural. And so that's a lot of the work that I do. That's been my practical experience for the last 20-some years. And when the planets align, so to speak, I get to use music as a tool in order to get that accomplished.
Wow. Okay, because I sit on the board of Sumner Hall. It's an organization that was founded by 28 African American Civil War soldiers. So in Chestertown. So I'm going to have to look you up.
Yeah,
and
please
get you
do.
to come over and talk to our group and our committees, because you'd be awesome.
Yeah, please do. I mean, I love that work because everybody needs space to learn and grow and mess up. People need space to mess up. They need space to not ask the question the right way, or they need to put their foot in their mouth and have somebody say, okay, that's probably not the way you should ask that question, but here's the way is a better way for you, instead of most of what people get when they fumble their way through navigating culture, because there's no manual, right? We're not born with a manual on how to navigate culture.
No, we're not.
So it's so great to know, I can call one of my friends, who is Syrian, and ask them about things that are going on politically. I can call one of my friends who's white American and say, can you explain this to me? Everybody needs that.
Wow. This is deep. Okay. I'm glad. I could go on and on, but anyway, so I want to try to move forward on. So I definitely want to step in and ask you questions about, as far as you have a new book entitled Life Whispers. Please tell me about Life Whispers.
Oh, I'm so excited about this book because this is one of those things that I'm like, I just got to get this out of my system and then I can move on. So I am a huge journaler. I love to journal. It's been a transformative process for me, and so I carry it around pretty much wherever I go. And sometimes I'd be hanging out with friends, or I would post something on social media, and I'd say, this is from my journal. And people in my sphere would start to say, are you going to publish these? Can you publish this? And so I decided to take 2 years of some wisdom, some insight from my personal journal, and put them into this publication. So I'm very excited about it. There are things that are directly from my journal. There are pictures of my journal in this book. And it's a small read, too. It's like 115 pages. So it's light, it's easy, it's consumable, and hopefully it will give readers some insight about their own life and trying to be more aware about what their life is speaking to them.
Now, how hard was that to publish that? Was that easy? I know a lot of people are now, with this time of we're all separated and we're staying apart, and people are looking to jump out and do projects and stuff. How easy or how hard was it to get that started? Is this and also, let me ask you this: is this your first book, or is this your second book, or what?
So those are such great questions. This book is my second book, but it is the first book that I have self-published. And so my first book I wrote on multicultural worship, that book was published by a publisher, Abingdon Press. This book in particular, I just wanted to do myself and get out and not have to worry about going through the publisher. I will say this with regards to the process, and that is self-publishing and, getting a contract or a deal with a publisher. They both have their downsides and their benefits. The self-publishing just recently, it's a lot of work on our end. My husband, God bless him, edited my book. He's fantastic at it. And he edited the book, had another person help with the design and the format. But we had to do all of that in-house. And then to send it off to a book publisher. And it's just a lot of detail. It's a lot of work. But I will say, even if you are able to strike a deal with a publisher, you don't have to do the work of editing, designing it, formatting on the front. You can just sort of be the artist. You can be the creative writer, write your manuscript, have somebody else edit it, work through it, and then they take care of all the distribution and stuff. However, depending on the kind of deal you get, a lot of times they, you won't see a whole lot financially from that until your publisher makes their money back and that kind of thing. But that's just sort of normal.
Yeah. So you did self-publishing. So what platform did you use? Like, you use Kindle Direct Press or Publisher or Blurb.com or
we chose we chose to use Lulu. Which is one of
Lulu?
the
Yes.
Yeah, we chose to use Lulu, and we got it to a point where it's working fine, and we let them do all the shipping, particularly during COVID times. We let them do all the shipping and that kind of thing.
Nice.
So, both things has its pros and cons. I can say that from doing both.
Oh, wow. Great. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. So, as a artist, so what do you find most difficult?
Oh, boy, that's a loaded question. God.
I mean,
what a great question.
Is it, what do you find most difficult as an artist?
Interesting is, I think my answers would have been different in different seasons of my life. So, for instance, when I started making records, it was just that getting over, or finding like belief in myself and, can I do this? And is my music any good? Or, those kinds of things. So that can be a hurdle. But I think in this season of my life, after, doing this for so long, sometimes I think the hardest part is sometimes just starting and then finishing. It can be tricky. It's like just to take the first step or two, depending on what the project is that you're writing, is hard. And then about, when you only have those last few steps when you're about to finish the CD or, finish the book or finish the online class you're doing or whatever it is as a creative person, sometimes it's hard to go that last extra bit to push it over the finish line. I think those times are tricky. Oh, and then honestly, being in the middle. When you're in the middle, I think Seth Godin calls it the dip. But, when you start a project and you're all excited and you're like, woo, we're going to do this. And then you're like halfway through and you're like, this is awful. Like, is it ever going to be finished? It's constant discipline. It's constant, just take one step at a time, just be faithful in the small. Creative work, it's just tricky. It's hard.
Right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for answering my questions.
Oh, sure.
Thank you very, very much. Yeah. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break, and we're going to bring in Jazzman. So he's going to do our featured artist for this evening, and our featured artist is what? Dee Bridgewater, Jazzman?
Yes, the one and only Dee Bridgewater.
Yes. Take it away.
All right. This evening's featured artist, Dee Bridgewater. The reason I chose Dee Bridgewater, in one word, I would have to say she's underrated. She's been around a while. She's won many awards, but she doesn't get the recognition that I feel that she deserves. And she's a contemporary jazz musician. And of course, we are still celebrating April is Jazz Appreciation Month. And for Dee Bridgewater, she is a triple Grammy winner. She's also a Tony Awards winner. She's a UN Goodwill Ambassador, a producer, a record label head. She is a jazz legend, a global icon. Well, Dee Bridgewater is an American jazz singer. She is a 3-time Grammy Award-winning singer, songwriter, as well as a Tony Award-winning stage actress. For 23 years, she was the host of National Public Radio syndicated radio show, Jazz Set with Dee Bridgewater. She is a United Nations Goodwill Ambassador for the Food and Agriculture Organization. Born Denise Eileen Garrett in Memphis, Tennessee, her father, Matthew Garrett, was a jazz trumpeter and teacher, and through his playing, she was exposed to jazz early on. At the age of 16, she was a member of a rock and R&B trio, singing in clubs in Michigan. And at 18, she studied at Michigan State University before she went on for further studies at the University of Illinois. With the school's jazz band, she toured the Soviet Union in 1969. The next year, she met trumpeter Cecil Bridgewater, and after their marriage, they moved to New York City, where Cecil played in Horace Silver's band. In the early 1970s, Bridgewater joined the Thad Jones Mel Lewis Jazz Orchestra as lead vocalist. This marked the beginning of her jazz career, and she performed with many of the great musicians of the time. Many of you may have heard of Sonny Rollins, Dizzy Gillespie, Dexter Gordon, Max Roach, many others. She performed at the Monterey Jazz Festival in 1973. In 1974, her first solo album, which was entitled Afro Blue, appeared, and she performed on Broadway in the musical The Wiz. For her role as Glenda the Good Witch, she won a Tony Award in 1975 as Best Featured Actress. And the musical also won the 1976 Grammy Award for Best Musical Show Album. She subsequently appeared in several other stage productions, including Sophisticated Ladies, Precious Thing, and she was featured on the album A Victim of Love with Ray Charles. In the late 1980s and early 90s, she returned from the world of pop and contemporary R&B to jazz. Her 1997 tribute album, Dear Ella, won her another Grammy Award for Best Jazz Vocal Album. And the 1998 album, Live at Yoshi's, was also worth a Grammy nomination. Performing again at the Monterey Jazz Festival, she also explored a new CD, which was called This Is New in 2002, which featured songs of Kurt Weill. And the next album was about the French classics, Jeux d'Amour, which was published in 2005. Her album Red Earth, which was released in 2007, featured Africa-inspired themes and contributions by numerous musicians from Mali, Africa. As a Goodwill Ambassador to the United Nations, Bridgewater continues to appeal for international solidarity to finance global grassroots projects and the fight against world hunger. In April 2017, Dee Bridgewater was the recipient of the ENA Jazz Masters Award. She has put her tour on hold, but she was currently touring before the COVID virus worldwide in support of her latest CD, Memphis, Yes, I'm Ready. And also, she's a double threat. She's a triple threat. She also has appeared in the 1979 film, The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, and the 1984 film, The Brother from Another Planet. She has made a guest appearance in the hit sitcom Benson and the hit sci-fi fantasy TV series Highlander the series. That's it for the global icon, Dee Dee Bridgewater. If you get a chance, listen to some of her music, and you will either be introduced to a new artist or you will appreciate the over 50 years of recording by Dee Dee Bridgewater. Thank you for listening. How you doing, Sister Nikki?
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing?
I'm fantastic.
Now, Nikki, you definitely have a trifecta, and I have a lot of questions, but of course that would take about an hour, so I'm going to keep it short. but I found your bio so interesting in terms of being not just a culture coach, but you're a teacher, you're a speaker, you're an artist, author, vocalist. I mean, you have a lot on your plate, and you're doing it all very well. My first question is, you're welcome. My first question is, vocally, what makes Nikki Lerner's music unique?
Well, my hope is that what makes it unique is that I sound like myself. I think my goal, while just like everybody else, I'm influenced by singers and musicians that I love. I'd like to think and again hope that my sound is unique to me, that what you hear on a record is the same thing you'll hear live, that my heart for people and for everything that makes us human comes through in my music. Hopefully that's unique. And I also think some of the vocal stylings and the way the backgrounds are recorded and that sort of thing is just unique to myself.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Now, Nikki, when it comes to recording, I've spoken with many independent artists, and they have it seems like there's a commonality in terms of their greatest challenge, which in terms of marketing their work. What is your greatest challenge in terms of marketing, the marketing end of the music business for you?
Right now, because I primarily work for myself, it is just the balance between the part of me that needs to focus on the business side of sharing my work with people, and as opposed to the actual creative side of songwriting and singing and keeping up my craft and those sorts of things. I think, I come from a generation of artists that, we weren't kind of taught this idea that you got to be a business person and an artist. It was just sort of like, hey, be the artist, and then somebody will find you, and next thing you know, you're going to be a rock star, But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And so
no, it doesn't.
I think, just I'll tell you this. The biggest mind shift that happened for me several years ago was, because I think a lot of artists struggle with, I don't want to be like self-promoting, and it's hard for me to, share my work and that kind of thing. But I came to a point where I was like, why would I work so hard on a project and then be afraid to give it to people or keep it all to myself? Like, that's not the point of it. The point of a project or anything that we work on as creatives is for other people, right? It's there to be shared. It's there to inspire. It's there to encourage. And so to feel self-conscious about our work at some level can be a mild form of pride of, well, I'm just going to keep my work to myself. It's not for you.
And also, Nikki, I think with artists, I think the art itself comes the most easy, but the marketing end is the most uncomfortable. And I guess it's almost like the road less traveled in terms of when independent artists is like you're going into the unknown. You really don't know, you can learn a lot, but you also got to learn through a lot of bumps and bruises, And I think that could be it also. But
yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Mm-hmm.
Now, do you find? Now, I know they both your babies, your books and your music. But which one do you find most rewarding?
Oh, music by far. By far.
Oh, by far.
Yes.
Now, why is that?
Well, I think because, I'm a musician. I'm a musician first. Music is my first love. And I feel like I can express myself the most creatively through music and song, or when I'm on stage or on a platform, singing for people, with people, whatever it is. I feel like people get 100% of who I am as a person when I sing. And it's hard for me sometimes to express that amount of exuberance and joy and love for life just through a written work.
You said by far. That's interesting. Now, you mentioned with your book that you do self-publishing. You self-publish, and you've also had a publishing house. Now, I know that how it is because I used to be in publishing. I was a part of a family-owned business that we published over, I guess, 15 to 20 books, and we had a lot of self-publishing authors. The challenge was distribution for self-publishers. Do you find that the most difficult aspect of being a book author?
I think that's certainly a part of it. I think when it really depends when you write your own book of what kind of audience have you already established. I think if you haven't established any sort of an audience yet, it is very, very difficult to self-publish a book and sell lots of copies of it. Now, I think most people also, we need to always know why we are writing a book in particular. And people write books for a lot of different reasons, right? Because I think the book that I published with a publishing house, it certainly probably had a wider distribution, but I still had to work just as hard.
That's interesting.
Yes, it's not
why
like
is that?
You get a book deal and you're like, let me just sit back and watch this sell millions of copies. It doesn't work like that.
I mean, did the book publishing company, did they get other bookstores, other vendors to sell your book? I mean, you said you were part of the distribution.
Yeah, I mean, they did, the work that they said they would do to get it out to their network of people. So that happened, but I still, at least again, in my experience, I still had to get out and let people know about my work, and to get out and sell that thing, and to show people and share with people why they needed it and why they needed that work. I still had to do a lot of the work, and I have an audience, and it was still really hard.
Well, there's a lot of benefits to self-publishing, though, because it is cheaper. You control your product. You do have to work hard, but there's benefits to either one. There's there's benefits for both.
Yes.
By the way, how did you sell your manuscript to the book publisher? I mean, did you put on the desk?
That's a long
Did you
story.
put out 100? I mean, did you put out 100 manuscripts up there and they picked up one, or was just
No, that wasn't my story. Really, it came through relationship. That particular one, the person that I co-wrote this book with had a random meeting with someone who was in the industry, and they happened to be looking for a book like ours on multicultural worship. And and it just all kind of came together and aligned, and they said they were interested, and that's how we got the book deal.
Oh, that came easy.
It certainly felt like it.
Yeah.
Felt like it, yeah.
All right. I'm going to try to rush through here. Now, Nikki, where do you see yourself in 5 years in terms of being because you're really a teacher. You're a teacher, you're author, and you're also a vocalist. Where do you see yourself in 5 years in terms of those aspects? I mean, are they intertwined? Do you see one, I guess, taking off more than the other? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself using every gift possible that I've been given to help people feel encouraged, empowered, and to see one another and understand one another better, just as human beings. I mean, that's really what I see. So if that means public speaking, if that means putting out music projects, if that means writing manuscripts, I will do all of it to steward every gift that I have towards that goal of more love, more beauty, more grace in the world, because we need it.
Yes, we definitely do. We definitely do, and best wishes to you. And by the way, Nikki, it's the first time I've ever heard of that term, culture coach. I've heard of life coach and different things. The first time I've heard of culture coach.
Yeah, I've sort of coined it.
Oh, that's yours. It's patented. But okay. And my last question before we listen to some of your music and I turn it over to Batman is, I would say I have a heart for the young people. What advice would you give to young people who want to get into the music industry, specifically in gospel?
I would say work hard to create, not copy. And what I mean by that is be yourself. We need new and fresh expressions of what a life surrendered to God looks like. And for people who are young in the faith or young in the industry, I would say, we don't need a fresh version of Ty Tribbett. We don't need another Tasha Cobbs. We don't need, let those people be those people. Stop trying to steal their identities. That's what we got going on. We got people doing identity theft all the time. Stop stealing identities. Stop stealing worship identities. We are desperate for an authentic version of who you are as an artist. So
that's what I was thinking.
You can learn from people, allow them to be, allow them to mentor you from afar. But please, I beg you, young people who are coming up, please just don't be a carbon copy of every other gospel singer that you ever heard or every other worship singer you've ever heard. We don't need that. We need you being authentically you. That's what the world's desperate for.
Now, Nikki, would you recommend that the young person get a mentor? Would you think that's good to serve as, get a mentor or serve an apprenticeship or to learn about the business itself?
My suggestion would be first, I would say this. Mentors are never a bad thing. However, if you just reach out to a mentor just because you think somebody is ahead of you and you don't have your own reason why you need a mentor, that's a problem. So I think people need to figure out first, who are they and who are they trying to become? And then first study your own life. That's what I would say. Start with yourself. Study your own life first. Be your own mentor. And then look out into the people around you and say, who can I find that as a person or as an artist is where I think I would like to be, or someone that could help me realize my own vision of what I'm trying to become. I think sometimes it's a problem when we go search out for mentors just because people are famous or people or whatever without first clearly defining who are we becoming. We have to know that, because we end up having a mentor sometimes and they'll lead us astray if we're not centered on what am I trying to become? Who is that person?
Well, you've given some incredible answers. You are definitely a coach and a teacher.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been phenomenal how you explain. I mean, I'm talking about both in the music business and in the publishing business. You have you speak with a lot of clarity.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. All right, Nikki, best wishes. And I'm about to turn it over to Batman.
Hey.
All right. Thank
Nikki.
you so much. Hey.
You're welcome.
How are you?
Great. And thank you, DJ Jazz Band and Lady Praise, for those awesome questions. I hope Nikki enjoyed it, being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki.
That's right.
I've had a great time, guys. Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And we got to have her back, too. We got some more podcasts.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, anxious to talk to you.
Happy to.
That's right. And Nikki, you said some really interesting things. I'm just going to ask the one question because we're going to jump right into your music while everybody's tuning in. And don't forget, everybody, you can catch the rest of this interview on Spotify. That's our major platform, as well as Spreaker and iHeart. Just Google Jerry Voice Live or Late Night with Jerry Voice Live or Google Live Jazz Experience and catch all of our playlists of all of our podcasts that we had this year. So anyway, Nikki, of course, like I said, I enjoyed being at your concert, and it's not that often, it's not a lot of venues, you really have to search them out these days. And it was just a pleasure that that church has an awesome venue anyway. And it's, I hope to see them open up to other artists like yourself and give everybody an opportunity to have entertainment like that, because you need those type of fellowships, Sometimes you can't just be jamming, words down people. Sometimes it's good to just hit them with some music and make them feel good first, then get them. That's what I believe. Music gonna make this world way better. So anyway, you guys talked about the business side of jazz, and now are you a worship leader at Bridgeway? Because I heard
I ran the worship ministry at Bridgeway for just over 17 years.
Wow.
So I decided to step out of my position about a year and a half ago after, 17 glorious years as the worship director at that church. It's been my home church. My husband and I have been there for, 24 years now.
Wow.
So, So I had the opportunity to lead that ministry for years, and was just time to go out on my own. That's it.
Yeah,
I always tell people, I'm like, nothing happened, nothing went wrong. I had no fight with the pastor. Like, that didn't happen.
Yeah, Dr.
God
David
just said it's time.
Yeah. Sometimes it is. 'Cause Dr. David, man, he's such a lovable guy. I know
he's awesome.
Yeah, he is. He really. I mean, he tries so hard to to give everybody opportunities when it comes to business and whatever it is. So anyway, now are you touring right now as a jazz vocalist in your band? Are y'all touring?
Yeah, well, believe it or not, right before COVID, we had a bunch of things lined up for the summer months, early spring and summer, and those things have been obviously canceled, postponed. But with this new record coming out in June, hopefully once the country starts to get back on its feet and open back up, we will be right back out on the road.
Yeah. So you guys just looking to just sweep Maryland, or guys go outside Maryland, hitting the tri-state, go south 95? Where can people find you guys this summer when things get back to normal?
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, we don't play in Maryland a whole lot. Most of what we're doing is outside of the state. So even when you guys came to see us play, that was a rare occurrence for us to actually play in Maryland. So most of the stuff we do is outside of the state.
Yeah. So are they smaller venues, or are you guys collaborating with other artists, or is just you booked? You're the main event?
Yeah, usually it's just us. We'll go into a space and somebody will come and either contract us in or book our band or something like that, and we'll go in and do a concert, particularly for if we're playing for a faith community. Our music is designed so that people who either would never step foot into a church or are not people of faith at all can come and, receive the language of music and encouragement and good vibes, and we know what those messages are, and we know who they come from. But trying to give people an on-ramp into goodness and into even the aspects of faith that we might identify with, but for them is a little bit harder. So we do a lot of outreach, and our music we can play in a church or a club, and it all makes sense.
That's right. It all makes sense. And so you have and I was really surprised when I went out there to Spotify, you had a couple of albums sitting out there, and of course we listen to all of them around here. As a matter of fact, when I was meditating today, I was actually listening to your latest album, just enjoying myself, relaxing.
Oh, awesome.
And yeah, I just love it. The sound is just so smooth, just so soothing. Sometimes it's hard to find that, with some of your indie artists these days. But I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan, and we looking for checking out another performance. If it happens again, we definitely want to sign up to your newsletter or your website if you have one for people to go out there.
Awesome.
You want to give that information out to everybody right now? You have a few minutes left.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your kind words and for the opportunity tonight. And if you all would like to stay in touch with me or contact me, my website, NikkiLerner.com, is the best place to reach me.
Amen. Now, I gotta say, Nick, I had a little problem with the last name because you hear the word learn, everybody assume you got an A in there, but it wasn't.
Nope, no A.
No A. Awesome. So we just let everybody know. No A. So Google her and Spotify, come right on up. All right, Nikki, we really enjoy having you on the show. And again, I hope we be able to visit you for another performance, and maybe Chestertown open their doors for you, Graysonville. So we have
all right.
Hey,
invite when I come.
Yes, I intend to play the music on the air when we get back in the studio, and I'm going to be playing it and hopefully have you come and talk about it on air and, hey, play some music. Hey.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, look, we got 2 more minutes. I just want to let everybody know next week, at least May, Pastor Duck is going to be following this show at 9:30, his brand new show, and we are excited to have him for Positive Power WXI Christian Media, and we hope everybody be able to support him and join us right after the Live Jazz Experience. I know everybody loves the Live Jazz Experience. Like always hearing people say, I just love, because everybody just think we all Christian, but we all about music that make, feel good music, message music. That's what we call it right here, Positive Power. And Nikki, I wanted to ask you this last question. As a local artist, because basically I'm assuming you're a Marylander. When you first, decided to come out and have a band and, release an album and everything, what was important to you? Was it important to you to try to dominate Maryland, everybody get to know you as a household name, or was you just going to just take it, as it come? What was your plan, your business plan when it came to that?
Oh, gosh. I wish I could tell you guys that I was like, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I was going to take the country bus tour, but people were going to know my name. Like, I wish that was my story. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. I literally just said, I said to myself, how can I be faithful to what I know I'm supposed to do? And I don't have all the answers. I'm not even quite sure how to do this half the time, but I'm just going to take it one day at a time, trusting that the Lord will give me clarity each day and that I will learn what I need to learn and find the people I need to find to help me just take the next step each day. And I know that's not super exciting, but it's my story.
But it's realistic. But, you're being realistic and being real about it, because I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves because they want to be out there. They want to open for mainstream. They want to be the main event. And, that's why you feel you was gifted, to spread your message throughout the world, But some people are still in little tiny spots and they concerned. A lot of these people are in their 60s now, about to hit 70s, and they still want to know, when it's going to be their turn. And they spend so much money. It's a very expensive industry, for one, especially, when you don't have a label back and you're putting up for. And I think the last thing that people put money towards is their marketing. Because your music is beautiful, so I'm assuming you had a great engineer and a studio and, everything that went into this project and all your projects, because they all sound, like they were well composed. I guess some people do get a little disappointed, but I think at the end of it all, I don't care if it's one person, listen to that song. If they love it, you should feel good about yourself. You should feel good. Yeah,
and I would just encourage people who are still, waiting and saying, Lord, when is the time? We don't know. And that's the reality, is you never know. You never quite know what the outcome is going to be. All we're responsible for is, can we be faithful in the little? Can we be faithful when our gigs have 5 people? Will we still give our best and give our best show, whether it's 5 people or 5,000 people? Because it is the Lord that looks at the heart, not the outward appearance. And so I feel like we will gain great gratitude, thankfulness, and fullness when we are faithful in the small things. Because really, if you think about it, there's no such thing as small. Like 5 people and 5,000 is the same to God.
That's right. And one thing was so awesome about with Bridgeway, I'm not sure how often they do that, because my wife and I, we just been attending since November, and before that she was online.
Oh yeah, that was the first time they ever did that.
Wow, that was incredible. If they can do that, I guess start out whatever the members' talent, that'd be a tremendous movement moving forward, because that's one of the things that a lot of the discussions are on podcasts is how come a lot of the churches don't support some of your independent artists. Some of them right in the band, and nobody even knew they had a CD. I was like, wow, that guy had, especially the last church I went to, they had like several musicians had CDs and we didn't even know it. We didn't even know their names.
Yeah.
Yep. You talking about all these people, something like, I think he had like 2,000 members. And we didn't even know the band members' names. I just think that that's awful. I had another word, but I'm not going to use it. But that's just it just don't remind you. Kind of, if you think about and we talk a lot about it all the time, because we just was working with Chestertown with a film that was the woman that was the star of this stage play. She was born in the 1700s and died in the 1800s. But back then, the only reason why slaves were able to escape and where we are today was because of the African American churches were very instrumental in us being successful back then. It just seemed like they don't use that formula anymore. I'm not trying to put something negative out there, but anybody out there, I think that our Christian musicians probably would be more successful if they had a chance to have an audience and to build from that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I will tell you this is just my opinion from being in those spaces, is I think a church really has to have a vision for that.
Yeah.
Because I think the idea that, there's kind of this, it's like performance is a dirty word in the church. And I don't think it's a dirty word at all. I think you have to look at everything through context. And so it's like, when is the context where we need corporate worship and we need worship leaders, right? Because at that point we don't need, a person who's just going to sing all the music and the people can't sing, right? Because the context is worship leading. Well, then there has to be a context that is created for performance art, right? And just because it's performance art doesn't mean that it's any less spiritual or that it's a prideful form. It doesn't mean those things at all. It just means that the artist is saying, let me show you my work. let me share my ministry with you. And so I think a church really has to have a vision for even the contextualization of what is the role of music in any given time within the church.
Powerful. And music sets the tone, you know. It really does. That's why they start the service off with the music. The preacher doesn't speak first and then the music. The music sets the tone. Yeah, I really love the way you put that. And hopefully, you know, because I've noticed some of the pastors that are mainstream or very successful have very successful ministries. Period. Some of your larger mainstream performers. So anyway, we appreciate you coming by. We're gonna get out of here, and you know, don't be a stranger. Hit me up if you need something. We're right here for you, and we really enjoy having you on Positive Power. All right, so we're gonna play your music.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nikki, thank you.
So everybody stick around. We about to play Nikki's music, and don't forget, you can check out her Spotify. I'm assuming she's at the other Amazon and other retail outlets, so you can, if you want to own it, check it out. Here we go.
You're listening to Gary Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
I've tried and tried to walk away, but now I've realized that you're the one that needs to leave. So let me say goodbye. I've spent these years just waiting for the words I long to hear, but now it's time we both move on. So let me say goodbye. Goodbye. I refuse to lead you on. Goodbye. We both know I'm not the You say that you will have to find the timing that's just right, but love's been here before your eyes. So let me say goodbye. Let me say I refuse to lead you on. Yeah. Goodbye. We both know I'm not the one. Tell me you don't need me. Oh, tell me that we're through. Oh, tell me I deserve a life with someone else, so I can walk away from you. I think we know this road is best, but difficult to choose. I promise my heart that branches bare, bitten by death's bitter air. Life is buried underneath what's frozen. Colors piercing through the earth, beauty struggles for rebirth. What was dormant springs to life again, triumphant. For everything in time alive, for everything is season, for everything that happens in this life is love without a reason. Oh, but there's a time to dance. Oh, but there's a time to laugh, a time to grieve. Every moment the heart can take delight in longing for heaven. Cloudless sky, dreams that flit like fireflies, dance unstifled in the evening shadow. Leaves rustle restless in the breeze, long awaited sweet release happens in one unexpected moment. Season. For everything that happens in this life is love without a reason. Oh, but there's a time to dance. Oh, but there's a time to laugh, a time to grieve. Every moment the heart can take delight in longing for heaven. Take delight in longing for heaven.
I remember how I've been the suffer, struggling in the street to make life better. I was all on my own, but when I met Jesus, He changed my life. I know the righteous has never been forsaken before. The righteous has never situation, there is God. Nobody knows tomorrow. All I know is just like with God, He go better. So you never look down on me. You never look down on me. You know me, God. You never look down on me. You never look down on me. You know me, God. I walk. Brother, hold on to God, fear not to try, you are not alone, because God, He gets His plan for you, He will pull you through, He will never let you down. The righteous has never been forsaken before. The righteous has never been forsaken before. That's why I said no condition is permanent. In no matter the situation, there is God. Nobody knows tomorrow. All I know is now with God, He go better. So you know they look down on me. You know they look down on me. You know me, God. You know they look down on me. You know they look down on me. You know me, God. God can lie, so I must surely come to pass. In my life, that's how He could be. God can lie, so I must surely come to pass. In my life, that's how He could be. You know they look down on me. You know they look down on me. You know me, God. You know they look down on me. You know look down on me, you know me, God. I'm not the same. My situation is changing. Bye-bye to poverty. Money not better. See my God. To me, I wanna hear God in your voice, please speak to me. Want you to calm this war inside of me. I want you to be the one I need. And heaven knows the way you make me feel. I pray to God that you know it's so real when I sing. The things you do to me, you make my heart believe. Amen. Talk to me. Even if it don't make sense, just stay with me. Show me the world from your own eye. I'd love to see you smile as you tell me your thoughts on love on us. I hope you know the way you make me feel. And I pray to God that you know it's so real when I say the things you do to me, you make my heart believe. Hallelujah. Amen.
It's your boy David Benton. Hey yo, Shay. It's time to go beyond the fence. Life is so good. It's so good. Yeah. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drives the bones, you know. Yeah.
It's about 8 in the morning, I'm just waking up. Got the Folgers on brew, about to fill my cup. While I'm looking out the window, let the sun come up. I'm good. I'm about to get my day started. Off to work, about to make them dollars. If only you knew what I've been through, you would smile and say that I'm good. I got a good job, I'm good. And my bills are paid, I'm good. And my family's good, my health is good. I thank God that I'm good. I got a good job, I'm good. And my bills are paid, I'm good. I got food on the table, I know that He's able. Thank God I'm good. I thank God I'm good. I thank God I'm good.
Life is so good.
I thank God I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You are magnificent, great. Your feeling is hate. When we're ignorant grace. So intimate place. Your heart of innocence make a life different break. The soul sin and the sinning. Could the enemy hate? You are the sun, stars, and the moon. You are that beam of light when it's dark in the room. When I depart from the womb, you're the air that I breathe. Always there when I need you. Preparing for peace. You're so good.
I got a good job, I'm good. And my bills are paid, I'm good. And my family's good, my health is good. I thank God.